Hello everybody, and this is Narendra Kumar, and I'm very happy to be here, and we are from NRK Academy. And today we'll go to do a wonderful beginning with Oscar Wilde. And this is a series called Master Literature and Advanced English Vocabulary. And in this series, we want to talk about the beauty of literature. And there are some very great authors. They are so they were a turning point in the history of mankind because they gave such beauty, such power to words. And one of the greatest of them was Oscar Wilde. And today our video is called The Life of Oscar Wilde and His Literature. I would like to talk about Oscar Wilde's life because his life itself was like a huge story, a great novel. Oscar Wilde was born in October 16th, 1854 in Dublin, Dublin. He was an Irish writer, and the first thing about Oscar Wilde in his childhood was the kind of parents he had. His father was an exceptional medical man. He was a doctor, William Wilde, and his mother was Jane Francisca, and she was a beautiful poet and a very skilled linguist. Now look at Oscar Wilde's life. He had two extremely distinguished parents. One a medical doctor and the other one was a poet and a skilled linguist. So you can understand how this small child in his childhood got such fantastic inputs from his parents. One more thing about Oscar Wilde when he was young was that he was very bookish. He loved books. So he used to read a lot. And the next point about his education was, very few people know that. They know him as a writer. He was exceptional in academics. Every single prize that was available then in school level, undergraduation, he won them. In 1874, he entered the Trinity College in Dublin, and there he really distinguished himself, and he fell in love with the great Roman and Greek poets and writings. And then he got a scholarship, he went to Oxford. Again, he distinguished himself, and he got the best awards there. In this whole period, you can imagine that young man deep into literature, deep into the study of language, of ideas, feelings. So the emancipation, the enlightenment that happened to that young, prodigious mind, you can well imagine. And then, very interestingly, he went to the US. He started a huge lecture tour. And here I would like to say a little bit about the content of Oscar Wilde. What did he lecture about really? Now, Oscar Wilde, many people feel that he was very superficial, that he was very, not moralistic. In fact, that was a big point at that time. Critics called him that he was not a serious person. But if you notice from today's perspective, Oscar Wilde was actually very serious about literature because he understood it is not the function of literature to moralize. That was the main point of Oscar Wilde. In fact, the fact that you should not moralize was the theme of the whole of the life of Oscar Wilde. You have to study his life and you will understand that. And now, of course, when you study his stories, the way he wrote them, for Oscar Wilde, it was the beauty, the depth, the feelings that were very important, the language. Oscar Wilde did not separate the beauty of language from literature. Both are one for him. And he again emphasized, again and again, through absolutely brilliant essays, that the function of literature is not to moralize or change society primarily. So his viewpoint was very original as an aesthetician. And you can understand, he had such a great erudition, such a great understanding of so much of literature. He had, was born with that kind of a understanding of the beauty of language. And then he went to a long lecture tour to the US. He returned. In 1884, he got married. That was the time when he got married, at the age of 30. And he got married to Constance, that an English woman. He had 2 children. And then, very interestingly, he became an editor of a ladies' magazine called Ladies' World. And the interesting point is, even there, he brought in a creativity. He felt a ladies' magazine should not disrespect, but respect other women. This is a very profound view. That was a long time back. You know, the Victorian age, that time the ladies were not supposed to be intellectual. He said, why not bring out the opinions of ladies? What do they think? So he had such a great respect and love for women. And then began the prodigious 7 years of Oscar Wilde, starting from 1888. 1888 to 1895. That period, he had matured. You know, the whole of his internal resources came to a focal point. He came out with some remarkable writings, which we'll see as a video in the further videos, short stories. A wonderful classic novel called The Picture of Dorian Gray. And he also became extremely famous as a playwright. In fact, he found his real mettle in playwright, because in a play you can show wit, and you can show satire, you can show the light-hearted spirit of living, you can show deep themes. So Oscar Wilde is a very beautiful author. And you should, and of course, there was a controversy about the fact that he was homosexual, and he had they said that he had a relationship with somebody. And even that echoes his so-called immoral nature. But Oscar Wilde followed his heart. Whatever he was, whatever his negative points may be, Oscar Wilde remains that giant of literature. Definitely, we will need to study Oscar Wilde. The best way to study Oscar Wilde is not to talk about him, but to go directly and see the way he wrote. The next video, we will be presenting his wonderful stories, and this is the reason we are doing this. Why are we doing this at NRK Academy? We are doing this because we want the whole world to open up to the most extraordinary world of literature. Because at the end of the day, if the heart and the mind doesn't get involved in the direct living of, living, thinking, feeling, good or bad, whatever it is, if you're not involved, if you're not sensitive, then you're not living. Literature brings you alive, and you will see the life, the full life of Oscar Wilde. Thank you so much. This is Narendra Kumar, and we will be meeting Oscar Wilde in the whole playlist. Many stories will read out to you. We will help you to appreciate Oscar Wilde so that the world of Oscar Wilde opens up to you. Thank you so much. This is Narendra Kumar, and we are from NRK Academy. Thank you.